On a Friday in the small town of Maruja, surrounded by majestic mountains and vast green plains, there lived a young man named Pedro, who dreamed of being a great musician since he was a child. He had been playing guitar since he was 7 years old and spent hours and hours practicing his skills every day. When he decided to enter a music school that his parents were able to pay for, Pedro was humiliated by his teacher several times, belittling him by stating that he did not have the ability to become a professional guitarist and should look for another profession. The insults became so constant that Pedro decided to drop out of music school, but he still hadn't given up on his dream. Pedro had a group of friends with whom he used to play music at a small local club, but one day everything changed. His best friend, Jonas, decided to leave the group to join a more famous band, leaving Pedro completely discouraged and without hope. After many lonely nights, Pedro decided he needed to find a new group of friends to play music with. He started going to other clubs in town and met a group of talented musicians who were looking for a new guitarist. They were led by a singer named Laura, who soon became friends with Pedro. However, things weren't easy at first. Pedro and Laura had very different personalities, and they ended up arguing many times about how the group's music should be. Pedro wanted it to be more classic rock-oriented, while Laura preferred a more modern style. Arguments became so frequent that the group ended up breaking up. Pedro was devastated and decided to abandon his passion for music. He started working at a local law firm, but he always felt a void in his life. One day, he got a call from Laura, who was playing at a big music festival in town. She asked Pedro to accompany her on stage, playing the guitar on a song she had written especially for him. His former band member claimed to have been unfair to him at the time that he didn't want to leave the matter unresolved. Pedro was surprised, but also excited about the opportunity to play music again. He accepted the invitation and started rehearsing with Laura and her new group. Again, the relationship wasn't easy at first, but over time they found a balance and started producing amazing music. When the day of the big festival finally arrived, the crowd was ecstatic as Laura took the stage with her band. When Pedro entered with his guitar, the crowd cheered even more. He played with such passion and energy that it felt like his guitar was talking to the crowd. At the end of the performance, the audience rose to their feet in a standing ovation, chanting the group's name. Pedro was thrilled, and couldn't believe he had found his way back to music. He had finally gotten over his inner conflicts and found his passion again. At that moment, he realized that music was what made him truly happy, and he would never again abandon his passion by taking over the law firm. Pedro and Laura decided to continue playing together, producing incredible music that inspired and delighted people. Soon they became one of the biggest musical groups in the city. With the band's success, he also learned to deal with his ego and differences of opinion. Pedro realized that music was an expression of collective art, and that all members of the group had an important role to play, becoming more tolerant and open to new ideas, which helped the group to grow even more. With a very noticeable growth in his skills, Pedro received a proposal to tour with a great international rock band. He was stunned by the offer and excited by the possibility of taking his music around the world. However, shortly before the tour, Pedro broke his arm in a motorcycle accident. It was a hard blow in life for Pedro. He couldn't play his guitar for months anymore. The tour was a success, but if Pedro on stage. He traveled to several countries, met incredible people and had experiences that he would never have imagined, helping the band backstage before the shows. Pedro remained the same young dreamer he always was, who believed in music as a way to connect people and spread joy around the world. But unfortunately, the regeneration of his broken arm left lifelong scars that would affect his guitar playing. When the tour ended, he returned to his hometown, where he was given a hero's welcome by his friends and family. Where he realized that his overcoming journey turned him into an example for other people who also went through difficulties in life. And so, Peter decided to dedicate his life to music and helping others find their passions and fulfill their dreams. He opened a music school in the city, where he taught talented young people to play instruments and develop their musical skills. Over time, Pedro's music school became one of the most renowned in the country. One day, while he was teaching at his music school, a talented young man named Lucas approached him. Lucas was an introverted and shy boy, who had always dreamed of playing the guitar, but had never had the courage to try. Pedro noticed Lucas' potential and encouraged him to enroll in his music school. The boy followed the advice and enrolled in the guitar course, but at first he had difficulties keeping up with the classes and seemed to be discouraged. Worried, Pedro talked to Lucas and found out that he was going through a difficult time at home, with family problems that affected his self-esteem and self-confidence. It was then when he decided to be more than a music teacher. Pedro became a friend and mentor to Lucas. With his help and encouragement, Lucas began to dedicate himself more to learning the guitar and began to attend classes with more enthusiasm. Pedro also encouraged him to join a band formed by other students at the school, so that he could practice and develop his skills together with other musicians. The band started doing small gigs at local events and festivals, and soon caught the attention of a famous music producer. The producer was impressed by the talent of the young musicians and invited them to record an album in his studio. The recording of the album was a challenge for the band, who had to work hard and overcome several difficulties to create a quality work. But, with the help of Pedro and the producer, they managed to finish the album and release it on the market. The album became an instant hit, and the band became famous across the country. Lucas became the band's lead guitarist and became admired by many young musicians who dreamed of following in his footsteps. Pedro was proud of Lucas and the other members of the band, and he was happy to see that his dedication and effort had helped transform the lives of these young people. He realized that just as he had found his passion for music, Lucas and his friends had discovered theirs. Even when everything seems lost, there is always a possibility of change and overcoming. He learned that sometimes we need to go through conflicts and difficulties to find our way. And so, the story of Pedro and Lucas shows that overcoming obstacles is not a lonely path, and that the help and support of other people are essential for us to reach our goals. With love, patience and dedication, we can transform the lives of those around us and create a better world for everyone. Lucas and band continue to perform in the country and gaining more and more prominence. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and leave a like for more life stories. If you want to send us your story to be shared on the channel, write it in a Word file and send it to the email in the video description. Until the next story.